Good
Yeah.
time, I guess.
Yeah.
All
Have a good day, you all.
right. See you guys. No, Susie, to answer your question, I don't think one went out this week. And I think that's probably why we're
I
light. I
said,
think
we'll
a lot
do
of
it.
people would want to hear him.
Good afternoon and welcome to the first Rotary Club meeting in 2026. We welcome all of you all here today, and we also welcome all those people who are online. Now it's the new year, and I'm sure that many of you are already started thinking about your New Year's resolutions. When you start that, please remember the first line in our motto, is it the truth? And then we should go from there. We'll start off and we'll talk a little bit about our New Year's resolutions a little bit later, but we'll start off with our pledge, four-way test and inspiration by Leah Anderson.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the four-way test is truth. Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? You can sit. I'm a failure. But don't worry, 91% of you are too. It's not personal, it's just math. Every year we set goals, lose the weight, make that money, land that deal, and every year statistically nothing changes. Only 9% of New Year's resolutions succeed. Here's the part that most people never hear. It doesn't mean that we're broken. It means that we're taught to aim at the wrong target. In light of reading Who Changes Everything by Charles Schwartz, the idea is simple. The problem is not discipline. It is not effort. It's not wanting it badly enough. The problem is that we're taught three lies: the lie of who, or the lie of how, the lie of what, and the lie of why. How many of us could sit here and tell each other our why for what we do? It's easy, right? It sounds smart, but how come they fail us? Change doesn't happen just because you want something badly enough. People fail to change because their identity is incompatible with the outcome that they want. Misalignment. Your routines are not habits, they're identity patterns. What you eat, what you listen to, who you spend time with. If you're not changing them, you're choosing them. Or if not changed, they'll continue to choose for you. This is not motivation, it's a proven system. And your systems can be rebuilt. So do not ask what you want this year. Ask who you must become so that failure is no longer an option. And if you want to learn more, Charles Schwartz helps business owners get an exit strategy and retire.
Thank you, Leah. And now we'll have an introduction of guests by Mike Baker.
I haven't done this for a while. Hello, guy and gals. We have a visiting Rotarian from Nicholasville. Larry Princeton, where are you? There he is right here. And we have some guests. Gina Potter is a guest of Happy Mountain. Where are you? Stand up, please. Welcome, Gina. Karen Lima is a guest of the Lexington Rotary Club. That's us. Where are you? There she is. She's interested in it, by the way. Marshall Wolhoff is a guest of Gary. Where are you? There you are. Ian von Steffenball is a guest of Alicia Chapin. Where are you? There you are. And Chris Couch is also a guest of Alicia. And here is a name from the past. He's not a guest of Joe Evans. He's still one of us. Carson, where are you? Carson Evans. Hey! Welcome back, big boy.
But to our guests, thank you all for coming and spending some time with us, and hope that you'll come back to visit us and maybe even become a part of us. So thanks again, and welcome home, Carson. We appreciate that too. Now for the lottery, Edwin Gibson.
You know the drill, Bill, right?
I do. How much money do we have to give away?
$563.
$563.
Well, that's the whole thing, not half.
Oh, okay. The last three numbers are 770. 770. There he is.
I have
Good gracious.
I have no idea what we're looking for.
It was on the board out there, but if you get somebody else, I don't want.
That it? What's the ace of spades?
Ace of spades.
Well, he got a spade, so he was close.
That's
You
it.
get $1.
That's right.
There you go.
Thank you.
All right, we got one more drawing.
We'll mix them up real good this time.
That's it.
There you go.
This is 795. 795. Oh,
Brad.
Brad.
Looking for the ace of spades. Oh. There you go. Congratulations. All right.
Thank you for that. Celebrating birthdays this weekend, we have Don Thorpe, Chris Hickey, Michelle Ripley, Sarah Combs, Barry Richard, Dan Dorset, Guy Brandley, and John Shaw. So let's give them an applause for that. Make it good for another year. I'd like to bring Lyle Hanner up to give us the election results for 26, 27.
Thank you, William. Appreciate it. Good to see you. Whoa, good crowd here. Should have a great speaker here shortly. I'll tell you about that later. But listen, we just had some elections and I want to share with you that, well, I'm the president. I'll be darned. Okay, but President-elect is Barry Stumbo. If you're in the crowd, hey, just stand up real fast, but I'm gonna move through these quickly. The secretary is Jared Pauls. Stand up, Jared. Treasurer is Jenny Snurr. She's already done it for a year and done a great job. Jenny. Sergeant at Arms is Susie Basham. And then we've got, I think Susie's out today. And then we've got several directors, Chris Anderson, Sharon McBride, and Cheyenne McBride. Sorry, Cheyenne. McBride, and Don Tharp, he's here. And Linda Weaver is going to be filling an appointment there. And then we've got some new board members to join the board, and they'll be 26, 27. That are all of our past presidents. You know, it's typical that the past presidents serve. So we got Jamie Schrader and Jim Richardson and Bill Wilson and Dean Hammond will all be on the board. But in addition, some new members, Dylan Harper, Chris Peck, Chris Aldridge, Eric Brooks, and Alicia Chapin. I didn't give you much time to stand up, but let's give them all a big applause. I'll tell you what, these leaders do a lot of work all the time just to keep things running, and you're amazed at how many things we have going. So how about what's next? Let's go.
Okay, I'd like to get Jenny Schnurr to talk to us about another special announcement that we have with the Around the World Dinner.
Hey, everyone. I want to make a quick update about the Around the World. We worked and reviewed the calendar for this year and made a strategic decision to pivot. So we had planned to do that at the end of January. But what we learned was that it was kind of a close timing with Pickles and Pints and then right in between Dancing with the Stars. So what we are going to do is we are going to refocus our energy to where we can have the greatest impact for this year, and then be able to focus on the large club conference in the fall. We will then in 2027 move around the world to the fall when it was going to be the best time of the year for it. So this fall we will do a small informal gathering for Around the World, but if you have the 30th booked on your calendar for this year, we're going to take that off so that we can do it right next year. That's all.
And now for a very special time in Rotary, we're going to introduce a couple of our new members. Peggy, you'll be giving us the honor for that.
Hey, Happy New Year. It's great to be back. It is an honor to introduce two new members, but they're not new to Rotary. Gentlemen, this is awesome. We've got two of the best guys coming in today. And I wanted to bring them up together because they are both have been Rotarians. So the first one is Daniel. He was a Rotarian in 2018-19. He won the Yearling Award. And I thought he was a young whippersnapper then. I still think he is. But so he's back. He left the club, and I looked back through some emails because he wanted to focus on his career. And when he does something, he says he wants to do it right. So now he has made a name for himself in his career. He is a founder of Solidify Solutions and strategic CFO firm that works with growing businesses. And he is now married for 4 years to Hope. And he also has a passion for working in the garden. Judy Worth, are you here? You hear this? So I know Daniel will be a great addition to have back in our club. And just a little note, when I looked him back up from years ago, Barry Stumbo was in his yearling class. So that's another a great member coming out of that group. So welcome back, Daniel. And this gentleman, some of you may have met Duncan Hines. And before I go any further, yes, he is a relationship to the famous Duncan Hines, known for his cake mix, was a first cousin to his grandfather, hence his family name. But that is not what Duncan does. I don't know if he cooks. I don't know. We may find out. But his family has been in southern area of Kentucky. He hails from Bowling Green. They have been state senator, circuit court judge. But his family also operated Hines Barge, a domestic riverboat company on the Barren, Mississippi, and Ohio rivers. Now he is in hospitality. And is joining us, like I said, from the Bowling Green Club, but the Bowling Green Club, he wasn't just a member, he is the immediate past president. So we have another great member coming in today. And from the Bowling Green Club, I got an email that says, y'all are getting a good one. So watch out for his corny jokes. So Bill Wilson, you've been put on notice.
Yeah. We could fight on that one.
So I'd like to welcome Duncan Hines to the Lexington Club.
Well, Daniel and Duncan, welcome to the club, and thank you so much for allowing us to use your talents as a part of this civic organization that we belong to. Some other general announcements. For those of you who have parking passes, they have expired, so you need to go to Tom Evans. He sits out here in the hallway and renew your parking passes. If you want a parking pass, see Tom Evans as well. Secondly, January the 19th is the Martin Luther King Jr. Celebration. We last year celebrated by doing the march. This year we're going to hopefully do the march and a breakfast. And we have a table set aside. And if you're interested in joining us, we can get 10 people. So you need to get in very quickly, see Peggy, and she'll give you some information about that. So that's the Martin Luther King March, breakfast, and march. For the 5th Thursday in January, this year's on the 29th of January. And normally on the 5th Thursday, we do something special, and this usually is a tour. And what we'd like to do this time is to be going to the Aviation Museum. Jerry Vandermeer has been very gracious because I think he works out there or has helped out there. And there'll be a box lunch and a tour. So that will be on the 5th Thursday, January the 29th. Now, a couple of things as it relates to an introduction as such. Remember when we started off, Jamie Schrader started off and talked about what we call our 4 pillars. And these 4 pillars were essentially membership, finances, continue to have outstanding speakers, and then to have a Rotary project that we could engage as many members as we possibly could in. And I think as it relates to membership, as an update on that, I think we are doing pretty well. Peggy tells us that we're still running around 220. In large clubs such as ours, we usually lose about 10% of our membership each year, just as a matter of attrition. People move, people retire, they move to other areas as such. But we were lucky and we've been fortunate that we've had as many people to want to join our organization. So we have not lost anything there. Financially, we're doing well. And that's thanks to the Dancing with the Stars that we've had, a very successful event. Pickle and Pints, which you'll hear some more about because we probably will want to do that again. We have this round the world dinner. Now we're going to reschedule and reset on that, but those are some of the things that we've done to help bring additional monies into the organization. Of course, the big thing about the organization is you're paying your dues. And of course, when you pay them on time, it helps us to better plan and negotiate the manner in which we will spend those monies. The last part is going to be the challenge for us. We talked about a new project, and the 4 of us got together and talked about different things. According to the survey that we passed out, you all indicated that education was a top priority or should be a top priority for Rotary. We have talked about the arts. We've talked about, I think someone gave us some ideas about bullying in the schools, what have you. But I asked the group if we could shift a little bit on that, because coming up in September of this year, we are going to have a major conference that we are going to be responsible for putting on. It's called the Big Club Conference. And we're going to need everyone focused on that in order to put our best foot forward. This is going to give us an opportunity to publicize Rotary, to let people in the community know who we are and what we do. Equally as important, we'll have many guests coming in here, and we want them to leave here with an outstanding perspective about what we do here in Lexington and how we do it. And they will be Rotarians, of course. So I'd like to see if we could focus as much as we can on that September the 26th deadline. And my colleagues have indicated that they would like that would be good. Now, let me clarify something else. We started off with this thing called the Fab Four. Look at it as a relay race, if you would. Jamie Schrader was the lead-off person. I mean, he really got us off the blocks quickly, and he set a great pace for us. Next was Jim Richardson. Jim Richardson, for the next 3 months, normally the second person in a relay race has a job. That job is to not lose ground and pick up some if we can, and Jim did a wonderful job of that. I am the third person with the baton. And I asked my colleagues, I said, can you give me any advice that would help me continue my race for the next 3 months? And the simple advice that they gave me was, for God's sake, Wilson, don't drop the baton. So essentially, that's what I'm planning to do. The last person, of course, our anchor person is Dean Hammonds. But we've all decided to work as a unit. So the things that I'm seeing here today comes not just from me, but comes from our group as such. The other thing I'd like to emphasize is every year, people set New Year's resolutions. And I looked this up because this comes from Forbes Health. 48% of the people polled believe that their number one priority for New Year's resolution is improved fitness. 36% said improved mental health. 38% said improved finances. 34% said weight loss. 32% said improved diet would be their focal point. Overall, 80% of the respondents felt that they had their confidence that they could meet their goals. When it broke down by men and women, men slightly more confident, 82% versus women, 79% more confident. But one of the things that I'm hoping we will do as Rotarians is commit ourselves to doing two things. Our resolution for the club would be, number one, to engage in Rotary activities and projects to the degree that we can. And secondly, to continue to serve well our community. Now, I have a very personal resolution, and that is I will not tell you any more dad jokes. Now, wait a minute. For those of you who are lawyers in the group, I said I would not tell you any more, but that does not mean I will tell you any less, okay? Now, with that said, I'm gonna tell you one dad joke. What did the lioness say to the lion? She says, I'm angry at you because you are a cheater. Moving right along. This is going to be fun. I can see that now. Okay, I think it's now time to move to the heart of our program. Our speaker has arrived. So I'd like to introduce Lyle Hanna to come up and to make the introduction.
Thank you, Bill. All right. Hey, thanks for being here today. We got a great program. I was going to give an introduction. We thought maybe he'd be running late, but he's here. That's fantastic. Dr. Capiluto, delighted to have you here. You know, 2011 was a great year at the University of Kentucky because that's when they landed Dr. Capiluto. He's the 12th president of the university, and he's done some terrific things for our campus. I don't know if you look out that window, I used to count 5 or 6 cranes. Today, there's 7 cranes out there because of all the things that he's done. He's got a $7.6 billion transformation going on there to really make a difference in the facilities and the opportunities for students and so many things. So I'm going to cut through this. It's all in the program there, but really he's done a lot of fantastic things. He's built a lot of partnerships, public-private partnerships to help fund all that stuff. So he's not having to go out to the market, that stuff. And man, we appreciate all you've done. You know, at UAB, he was he got a doctorate there in medicine, but he also got a doctorate in health policy at Harvard University. But at UAB, he was the provost. He was also the dean of the College of Public Health. So he came to us with a ton of experience, and he brought this wonderful wife with him who was also, she was the former dean of UAB at College of Dentistry at UAB. So he brought with him a ton of experience and so forth. Let's just give him a warm welcome. Mike, let's stand up and stretch a bit, and let's say, Dr. Capiluto, what a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Lyle, for the kind introduction.
I'm glad to see Bill here as a warm-up act. You may prefer his act after you listen to me, but it is an honor to be with all of you, and good afternoon. Sorry, I'm running a little late. I had another commitment. Lexington is just not where the University of Kentucky is located. It is the home of our mission and where it thrives a considerable amount. Many of you, alumni, parents, partners, employers, volunteers, but most importantly, we look at all of you as neighbors. And the work we do at UK and the work you do in this community keeps us deeply connected, I hope, in very positive ways. So this city is where our students can flourish, and they learn about what it means to be part of a community. It is where they intern, they volunteer, they work, and increasingly, we hope, they choose to live and stay. When we succeed, we feel Lexington succeeds, and when Lexington thrives, it strengthens the entire Commonwealth. Thank you for the role all of you play in that success. So today I want to share an update of some very positive things that are going on at your university, and not simply in terms of numbers or announcements, but in terms of how the University of Kentucky is advancing Kentucky in everything we do. I'm glad to report that more and more students from Kentucky and really around the country are making the University of Kentucky a first choice for their education. This fall, we were able to welcome nearly 39,000 students, a record. And for the first time, we welcomed 4,000 first-year students in a freshman class of over 7,000 who chose to stay here in Kentucky for their education. Just as importantly, nearly 2,000 of those students are the first in their family to go to college. And we all know when that first brave soul takes that step, the trajectory of the family changes. It's usually the case that their children and their children's children follow their path. So it means more teachers, more engineers, more doctors, more entrepreneurs, and certainly more citizens to enliven and strengthen our communities. And the strength of our workforce gets expanded, the opportunities across Kentucky grow greater. And what these numbers represent is a powerful signal of trust that families across Kentucky are choosing UK because they believe we can best prepare their children, our students, for lives of meaning and purpose. It's one thing to enroll more students. The responsibility we have is to graduate and have them fully prepared for life. And I'm glad to report that we're doing remarkably well there. We have reached record graduation rates or numbers, 4-year and 6-year and first-year retention. And what does this mean? That more students are finishing their education in a shorter amount of time and with less debt. The progress reflects, though, not one single program or one initiative, but what overwhelms me at the University of Kentucky is the community of people who so deeply care about our students, who work together collectively, student life through our colleges, the health services we provide, the counseling, the career opportunity. UK Invest, only program of its type in the country where every student on our campus has an investment account. That kind of activity and creativity to engage a student, to make them feel that they belong at the University of Kentucky is what is really driving those numbers. And that extends far beyond our campus, because when more students graduate, that is best for Kentucky. I like to say that I close on gifts where the ask started 160 years ago when we were founded. So I got to thank all of you because, I've only been here 15 years. But recently, we accepted a gift from Tom Golisano. He resides in Rochester, New York. Immigrant family. He came with a little in his pocket, but he had an idea of providing personal payroll services for small companies. 800,000 customers today, a publicly traded company. He looked across the country for entities he thought were worthy of his generosity. We didn't go looking for him. He looked for us. And I have to thank those who came before me 60 years ago who decided that a land-grant university should birth a medical center. Because what he looked for were those entities who could uniquely serve children, and especially children with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And his review included us. He was deeply impressed. He sent his representative to spend a couple of days with us. She was deeply impressed. He invited us to Rochester, New York. We met with Mr. Golisano. He told me a couple of things I always remember. Number one, he said, I applaud for immortality, but I didn't get it. And number two, the only wealth you really keep is that which you give away. And then he looked across the table. There were 4 of us there and went, $50 million for the University of Kentucky. And that's a tribute to all the people who show up there every day to take care of children there and a network of caregivers we have across the state. And recently we announced a gift, the largest in our history, of $150 million from the Bill Gatton Foundation, where we're going to create a fantastic arts district on our campus. It'll be on the edge of the campus near downtown. And we know the arts can stir our souls, but it can further enrich this community. Mr. Gatton left a profound impact on me. He passed away a few years ago. I've told people that he was a hard businessman of high character, but his most tender moments were revealed through poetry, and we heard the singing of My Old Kentucky Home. It's a reminder of how important the arts can be. And lastly, the kinds of things we tackle are ones that we think are going to have profound impacts in our society and in our economy. And there's none that surface more today that have the potential to transform everything we do than artificial intelligence. So what we want to do is lead with how you can responsibly use this. It's a model we want to develop that's not just for Kentucky, but for higher education across the country. So this year we launched what we call CATS AI. It is the Commonwealth AI Transdisciplinary Strategy. And we can do these kinds of things because we're only one of 8 or 9 universities in the country that has on a contiguous campus this broad and deep array of disciplines. So we have these disciplines. We've built a framework where we can integrate them to advance what we can learn and do with artificial intelligence. So we're using it right now to improve patient care, expand access to education, support our workforce, increase efficiency, and address the very real questions that are going to arise from its use. The secret to much of our success over the last few years has been partnerships. Those groups that share our values, especially a commitment to advance Kentucky and break the frontiers of knowledge. We've done it with Apple, Fidelity, a group called Compass that is worldwide. So another new partner for us in this endeavor is Microsoft. It's our first corporate partner in what we call the Advancing Kentucky Together Network. And our new partnership positions us, we think, better than most universities in the nation to collaborate with one of the most influential global technology leaders you can find anywhere to help us with the deployment of AI. And this matters for Kentucky. AI is already reshaping healthcare, agriculture, manufacturing, and business. And that's a responsibility we owe to Kentucky to ensure a bright future when something this transformative comes together. I mentioned Advancing Kentucky Together Network. Our Board of Trustees meets annually at a retreat. At one of the more recent ones, they recognized everything we've done in partnership, and they ask us to engage more fully in partnerships to advance Kentucky. So based on their direction and advice, we launched the Advancing Kentucky Together Network. And we've got a variety of partners for which we have explored and inked agreements. One I'd like to share with you is local. We have some that involve healthcare, education, service, Microsoft I've mentioned. But we have a partnership with Transylvania University so that we can increase the pipeline, make it an easier pathway for their graduates to pursue things like graduate degrees in public health. So we're doing partnerships across the Commonwealth to ensure that our students and our citizens, from kindergarten to college to small and big businesses, have a way to work together with us to advance Kentucky. We're a public university with a public purpose. And a single theme I hope you'll take away from what we do every day, and that is our commitment to serve Kentucky and its people. Everything I've shared, record enrollment, incredible first-generation success, graduation success, transformative philanthropy, responsible AI leadership, and statewide partnerships points to a university that understands that public purpose. And it's inseparable from what we think the purposes are of this community. And I want to say too, I participated in civic clubs and organizations in my previous community, and I know how important that is to enrich and hold a community together. So I want to help you. I want to thank you for what you do by being a Rotarian. And I want to say that we look forward to partnering with all of you, to do more and be more for Kentucky. So I'm grateful for the opportunity. I appreciate your leadership. And if you have time, I'm happy to try to answer any questions. Thank you all very much.
It's great. The governor left here to say he's like, oh my God. Let's honor him with a few good questions. Oh, no, I can't do that. It's him. Yeah. All right, Chris, let's hear.
Capiluto, thanks for being here today. With respect to that $15 million bid, paychecks, can you explain a little more what that's going to be used for? Sure. What's remarkable about that gift and the trust Mr. Golisano has in an institution, because in many ways he's trying to extend his legacy. Who am I going to leave my wealth to that is going to care deeply about the children I most care about? He has a son who's now 60 years old with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And the gift is undesignated. You usually don't see that. He is trusting us to use these dollars in the most creative ways to innovate the kind of care we can deliver and to deliver that care in partnerships with others. He saw from our record that, we're doing a lot of things, but more importantly, we continuously improve on how to do things. The gift is $10 million a year for 5 years. sometime you may want to have Scotty Day, who's the leader of our pediatric endeavors and also our children's hospital. He's been on the forefront of this. Mr. Golisano in Rochester, when he announced the gift, had about 6 other hospitals he'd identified across the country. He only had time for one hospital leader to speak. And he had met all of them, but he chose Scotty because he was most moved about what we're doing in Kentucky. So more to come on that. Capiluto, this isn't really a question as much as a comment. I had the pleasure of serving 4 weeks of this university, so I know just a little bit about policy administration. What I'd like to say is, I applaud the work that the University of Kentucky is doing as an organization. The momentum that you have around building dormitory buildings, the collective efforts to get donors in and contribute to the university, the place is on fire. So if you do not know how difficult it is for a university to raise money, take a little bit of time to see what this guy is showing right there. And Dr. Capiluto, my hats off to you. Thank you very much. Whenever I receive a comment like that, I would be irresponsible if I didn't tell you how many incredible people dazzle me every day with making those kinds of things happen. It is the power of we. I will pass on your comments. What's the biggest challenge? Biggest challenge. Well, I think one of the things that I do not, from your remarks, I'll take it as less of a challenge, but a challenge in higher education today that you see in public opinion surveys is some people are losing faith about our promise. You know, they question some of the things we do. We properly prepare people for the right careers. How meaningful are our curriculum? Are we advancing a particular ideology in them? And many of those are fair questions. And I think we're trying to be responsive and stay true to our mission at the same time. I served on a school board. I've been here 15 years, probably 20, 25 years ago. The superintendent of schools, who I learned so much from, was a Kentuckian. This was in my previous home state of Alabama. His parents were Kentucky educators. And way back then, I would ask him that question. And 25, 30 years ago, he said to me, and believe me, we were a very successful school district doing extraordinary things. But he said, I worry most about government interference. And we have a lot of that now. And, you know, some of it's well-meaning, but, you know, some of it can be burdensome and distraction. And it's part of some of these doubts you see in public opinion surveys. So, you know, we have to be undaunted by that. We have to restore any doubts that people have and convert that into faith by what we do. And I hope we've been doing that for you and your fellow citizens. Whoever.
All right. Yeah, I'm not gonna slow down.
Okay.
I'll slow them down. We'll take one more question.
You have managed, seems to me, have managed to stay out of national politics. Like my, I'm along with Harvard, they have not managed to stay out of national politics. What is the plan? How do you stay out of national politics? I mean, it feels great if you have done that. I don't see this
the fire, voting over there, and you stayed out of it, what's your thought?
Um. In reflecting, I would say, not being in the crosshairs on some of these things, I will attribute to our community of scholars and students and alumni and our board of trustees and the direction they give us. And I would say when we've been challenged, I'll give you a perfect example. We certainly are well-intentioned and well-meaning and it was a goal of ours and still remains a goal. We want people to feel welcomed at the University of Kentucky, regardless of their perspective, their experience, their history, their identity, or whatever. We are many different people and we want one community. And in our efforts to do those kinds of things, there's some who believe that some of the things we did were unwise or improper or whatever. And we knew legislation was coming on this. House Bill 4 is the bill that was eventually passed that precludes us from doing things in particular ways that we wanted to do them. And I have to say, I took time that summer in advance of that legislative session, and I brought in small groups, faculty, students, staff, and I gave them materials that we were receiving and I had a simple question. What would you do? And I'd have to say, from what I heard, that's how we charted our way forward. And some of the things we do, we don't necessarily agree with, but we have to respect the law and the spirit of it. And then at the same time, how can we maintain that commitment to being one community where everyone is welcome and everyone feels like they belong? And that is a commitment we have to make to one another. You know, I need to understand you and you need to understand me, and we need to be listening to each other. And so I take my hats off to our community because I think that's how we conduct ourselves.
Thank you, Mark.
We appreciate you coming out. And one thing I want to mention, just before he was here, Leadership Kentucky gave out their top award of the year, their Flame of Excellence Award, and it went to our speaker, Dr. Capiluto. So, it's not.
Also, Dr. Capiluto, I'm not much of an advanced person. In fact, I probably will get fired after I tell bad jokes. But having said that, we do appreciate your time. And here's a lithograph from our own Rotarian, Mr. Bill Strauss.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Hey, have a great year. All right.
We're dismissed.
We got a lot of great programs
Okay.
coming up. So see you later.